Good morning, everybody. I'm Haley Black, the co-founder and director of education of Inspirations Academy. Super excited to be leading this virtual book study. This is a huge mindset shift for a lot of us, including myself as a mother and an experienced educator. I wish that this had been brought to my attention as an early 20s person before I became a parent, before I became a classroom teacher. This is called The Self-Driven Child. And I've been doing this just virtual recap, just kind of giving you some snippets from a couple of chapters per week. You can get the recap on all the other chapters, learn a little bit more about the introduction, who these authors are. As an educator who is research grounded and I want to see evidence, I want to see proof. That's what this book is providing. So it is written by a neuroscientist and an experienced educator. They came together and just pulled together research that has been in existence for a while. And countries like Finland are incorporating this research into their education model, which is what took Finland from the bottom to one of the top performing countries in the world in education. So it's simple. So it's just providing you some brain science to help you understand how the brain works and how we learn. So this is really empowering. This book is really empowering. So if you have not purchased it yet, I would definitely purchase it, called The Self-Driven Child by William Stixrud and Ned Johnson. So I would definitely look into this. You can find all the recaps of everything that I've been chatting about for a few weeks. You can find all the recaps on our YouTube channel at Inspirations Academy. So this week we're talking about chapters 3 and 4. Chapter 3's title is called It's Your Call, Kids as Decision Makers. So I feel like that's really intimidating and a lot of misconception with what that actually means. So I'm just going to share some tidbits, and I really hope it encourages you to pick this book up and read it more detail for yourself, because it's truly eye-opening, and you're going to want to dog ear. You're going to want to mark through this book. So it starts off on page 55, when we say we want children and teens to make their own decisions as much as possible, what we really want for them to do is to make informed decisions. So when we use the phrase, it's your call, that does not mean you're throwing them to the wolves and letting them rule the house and make all these decisions that you know are going to be detrimental to them. It's all about communication and making sure they're making informed decisions, okay? And then if they make a decision, even though they know they've been informed about it, they have to kind of live through the mistakes. If the decision is dangerous, even though they're informed about it, you have to still stay in control as the adult and the parent. Say, you know what, I can't let you do that. That's going to be harmful either to you or to our family. Like, we can't do that, right? So I'm going to just kind of share some snippets with you because I think this is eye-opening. So when it says it's your call, does not mean kids get to call the shots at home, okay? It does not mean that conflict, it's your call does not conflict with limit setting. So there's still limits. You're still setting expectations as the adult, okay? The ultimate goal is not to produce compliant children, except for we want to produce children who are going to think and act and interact successfully in the world, right? They have to learn conflict resolution. They have to understand and be informed of what this decision, how it's going to impact this, okay? It's Your Call isn't about giving kids unlimited choices. That actually overwhelms them. So there's a lot of brain research with this. The more simple and straightforward the decision can be, or if then, those kinds of things, the less choice they have to make, the more likely they're going to make the better choice and to make the right choice. Let's see. It's Your Call is also not about manipulation. So I think that's kind of eye-opening as a parent. I've done that before, you know. And if a child is not willing to listen to the pros and cons, then it's not their call after all. Like, there's a give and take. There's a relationship side that is being trained into you as a parent, building relationship, building that trust. That's what this is all about. So then it kind of goes into more of the science behind all this. Like, what does the neuroscience say about why this is really, we've got to pay attention to the science, because this conflict that develops with these kids, especially as they get to the 12 and up age, the brain is like super development mode. Like, there's parts of the brain that are being developed between 12 and 18. And the only other time that you can compare that kind of brain development is the 0 to 2 age. So like their infant into early toddler, there's huge brain development then. Then it kind of flatlines a little bit. And then from 12 to 18, there's another huge growth, right? Which is why we have a lot of conflict with this age group, because parts of their brain are actually being developed that God has created them to be independent thinkers, to not be compliant and complacent, right? So that's why they fight the system so much. They want to fight the rules if they don't understand why it's a rule, right? And they want to fight their education model because they don't understand what the why is. Like, if it's not meaningful, they want to fight it, right? So that's kind of what this is going into. So it's giving them a sense of control, but it's giving them informed and helping them make informed decisions. It's really, really powerful. I think this is another eye-opening one. Let's see. Listen to this. This is super, super interesting. It says, again, this is written by neuroscientists and people who've been in the education world. So it says, we commonly see adolescents and young adults go off to college without having had much of an opportunity to make decisions about the things that matter, including how they want to structure their time, what they want to commit their energy to, or whether they want to be in school at all. Not surprisingly, they have difficulty setting and meeting goals and making good decisions when it comes time to pick classes or a major, or more generally, to manage their day. Right? I went to college. I saw it firsthand. How many of these kids, how many of these young adults have never had that kind of experience, have never been allowed to make decisions, or have even been empowered how to do that, logically, how to think things through with pros and cons, and they go buck wild, right? This is like a normal thing. We all know this. This is not anything new. So instead, this book is teaching you that parents, your job is to help them through that process before they leave your house, right? So it's like releasing control on your agenda and teaching them how to think about their decisions in a logical way, in a productive way, doesn't mean they're always going to make good decisions. This is just building relationship. And sometimes parents, we have to release the control that we think we always know best. Sometimes we don't know what's best, right? All of our brains are developing in different ways. We were designed in a unique way. If God wanted us to be the exact same and have the exact same time frame of learning, exact same schedules, all the things, then he would have designed us to be that way. We were not designed to be that way, right? He needs us for different purposes in the world. So the more that we are fighting our families, ourselves, and our children to conform to whatever, like what the standard is, the standard expectation of a certain age group, whether it's education expectation or sports expectation, it could be anything. And you're building the expectation around what the world says you're supposed to do, you're going to feel some struggle. You're going to be stressed. You're going to feel angry. You're going to feel like, this is a waste of time. I'm not enough. This isn't enough. We're not good enough. Look at all the other families that are thriving. We're not thriving. Right? It gets all these really toxic patterns going in your head. So this book is just super, super awesome. Let's see. It says, good decision making requires emotional intelligence. Kids need to learn what matters to them. Okay, this is so important. So as an educator I ran classrooms in public schools for a lot of years before transitioning and resigning from that. It was not jiving with me. I didn't know the meaning behind it at that point. Resigned and actually became a stay-at-home parent, transitioned to homeschool parent, transitioned to helping other families get value in the connection, staying connected and staying involved with your kids and giving them some ownership over their decisions. Okay, that's pretty much what this is all about. And this is exactly what we are taking into Inspirations Academy this next year, training the parents and training the kids. What does the science say? What does the Bible say? And we're going to marry the two, and we are going to train you guys through this, okay? Okay, so, oh, this is something super cool about unstructured play. So there's so much research behind the value and the importance of children working through things without an adult directing them, okay? And without an adult solving the problems, or without an adult structuring the play and telling the kids what to play and how to play. I am guilty of that. I didn't realize how much I had done that when my kids were younger. It says, when children play in unstructured ways, they are making autonomous decisions about how to spend their time. Again, it kind of goes into some more detail about how you can still pull these preschoolers into this mindset of just being aware of choices they're making and how it impacted something. It's just letting it be learning experiences, like a life learning experiences. It says, kids benefit very little from academic help they resist and don't feel they need or want. Okay, as a teacher, I have experienced that a lot. With every mistake, they'll develop better instincts and self-awareness, especially if you help them process what went wrong without blaming or saying, I told you so. Woo! I think that's a powerful one. And then it goes into some frequently asked questions. Like, again, these are all true experiences, real stories from the scientist and this educator, and they're sharing all these concerns, probably some questions you have in your head about, well, this won't work because, like, they address all of it. So you're going to want to pick up this book. So I'm going to kind of go through chapter 3, kind of skipping forward here. You need to read it, guys. But what I love about the end of each chapter is they have a section called What to Do Tonight. They give you action steps, right? So you're going to process a lot of info. This is going to get conflict with what your brain thinks is truth. It's going to provide you so much. It's going to make you wonder and question things. And they give you simple action steps, how to put this into action. Okay, so chapter 4 is called The Non-Anxious Presence. I am really struggling with this one. I'm like, oh. Okay, the non-anxious presence. It says, this is chapter 4, so page 83. A recent study showed that other than showing your child love and affection, managing your own stress is the best thing you can do to be an effective parent. Self-care. Like, that's powerful, guys. There's a whole thing called trickle-down anxiety. I see that in my children, and I am so guilty. I'm so guilty, guys. We are all going to struggle through this mindset shift of how the way you respond and react to things that maybe your kids aren't even involved with. They are watching, they are hearing, they are picking up on things, and it changes the whole culture inside of them with their stress. So there's a super cool science term called epigenetics. Epigenetics. Write that down. Epigenetics. Okay. So this is amazing. So this is brain research that has come to light in the past decade or so, that basically has proven that your thoughts physically change the structure of your brain. So epigenetics means that, yes, you might be born with a certain genetic disposition. For example, like depression or alcoholism, things like that. People will say like, oh, it's in my family, so I'm probably going to struggle with that, right? So what epigenetics has proven is that, yes, you might have certain genetic characteristics, but your thoughts can either trigger them in a positive way, basically kind of like your brain, your thoughts creates a pattern in your brain, a physical structure that can actually slowly break apart those genes. Like, this is like crazy. Or your thoughts, like, oh, depression runs in my family, so my kid's going to struggle with that. That's a thought that actually activates that gene and makes it come to life and creates a structure in the brain. This is an amazing thing, guys. God has created our brains. The Bible says, take captive your thoughts. There's so much Bible proof. This book is not Bible based. That's going to be the next book study. It coming in the fall. But that the Bible proves this brain science. It is exciting. It should be empowering. It should give you a sense of peace that, you know what? We do have control. I have control over how I'm going to approach my life, how I'm going to view myself, and how I'm going to view my children. That's basically what this is saying. So epigenetics, look it up. Epigenetics, look it up, okay? So they're talking about, this is where they're kind of getting into some more of the neuroscience, the amygdala, how it affects your behavior. It goes into calm is contagious. I love that. I think that's so true. There are ways of retraining our minds to avoid negative feedback loops and to deflect potential sources of anxiety. So I had some students last year, they just really struggled with positive self-talk. Their brain naturally went to, I didn't do very well. I'm not as good as, I'm not good enough. Even though they did an amazing job on their presentation, it was still like a negative feedback loop because their brain had been trained that way. They had trained that into their brain, right? So the encouraging thing is you can train it out. So I sent them with homework, like multiple students, like your homework is, and I will follow up. I'm going to check to see if you did it. You need to practice saying, I did an amazing job. I worked really hard on that project. I'm really proud of myself. And I had to make them, they struggled to repeat it. That's how tough these thoughts are on our brain, because their brain had this physical change with those thoughts. So their brain was saying, no, it's negative. You're not good enough. And I made them repeat it to me. And they had to say, that was the first thing they had to say when they got in the car. And I followed up with the parents. Guys, it makes a difference. You have to push yourself and you have to push your children through that hard, right? We have to believe it because that is what we were created to do. We were created in God's image. God is not negative. God is not stressed. God is creative. God is loving. God is peace. He is patience. He is kindness. He is goodness, right? These are truths. We were created in his image. Do not forget that. We were created that way. So what this book is going to start making you realize, and it's going to want to make you pick up the next book that we're going to be doing in the fall. It's going to make you realize that you do have control. And you do have the power to change your brain and how you react to situations and how you react to your child. It doesn't mean it's easy. There is no easy button in life, like none. If you are avoiding something that feels hard, even though it's biblically grounded, and you opt to go with what the majority is doing with the world, it's not going to be easy, right? The world is not designed to support, the worldly view is not going to support a biblical truth view. Okay, so the next book study that's coming in the fall, we're going to be actually offering it to our families and our students to go through the next book study. It is going to directly tie this neuroscience, into biblical truth. We have to keep reminding ourselves of this truth. So chapter 4 is all about being the non-anxious parent, what chronic anxiety actually does to you physically. I don't think that's any surprise. How it bleeds into families, schools, organizations. It kind of addresses some of the things that we think are truth and they're actually not, about the world is an awful place and it's full of murderers. It's just not true. There's actually statistics that show that's actually not true, that we're actually in a much safer world. Making our kids top priority so they can have the experience of being joy-producing organisms. Oh, I love that. Your child should feel like and know that they are a joy-producing organism for you. If your child is not joy-producing organism for you, the finger needs to come back here. right? So like, let's really reflect what is going on. If I don't enjoy working with my child on some academic stuff, if I don't enjoy pushing them through this hard of social emotional healing, what is going on with me, right? That I need to be reflecting and addressing myself. And then it goes into adopting an attitude of non-judgmental acceptance. And then, of course, the action steps at the end. So, guys, make sure that you're grabbing this book. It's easy. You can even skim read it. But you're going to want to own it and underline. Make sure you're sharing this. Invite other people to just learn, to be educated. And you can watch all the recaps on our YouTube channel. All right, have a good day. I'll see you here next Tuesday.